Hi everyone, this is Sarah from SRS Designs, and in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make this Loomigurumi pencil. Here's what you'll need for this project. You will need a hook and a stitch marker because we are crocheting it with bands and we're working in the round. You want to record the start of each row. You will need bands. For the eraser, you will need about 115. For this metal part in between, you'll need 40. For the paint on the outside of the pencil, you will need 200. For the wood of the pencil, you will need 45. And for the lead color, you'll need about 10. You'll also need a pair of safety eyes. I use 6mm safety eyes that I got off of Amazon. You'll need a band for your mouth, black, pink, red, whatever you'd like. You'll also need a pair of scissors to cut the band and some stuffing. So let's go ahead and get started. For my eraser, I'm going to actually use white. And we are going to start with a magic ring. So put a band on your hook and wrap it around 3 times. Through this magic ring, we're going to pull 6 bands. Put a band on your hook, slide it through those 3 rings, put the band back on, pinch those 3 at the ends, you're holding them tight, and make a slip knot. Back into the center, pull a band through all 3, back on your hook, and make a slip knot. We're just going to continue this until we have 6. So this is 3, 4, 5, and 6. You want to count your stitches to make sure that you've got the right number. 1 on the hook, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this one right here is where we're going to put our hook back into so we can start our next row. Our next row is going to have 12 bands in the row. So there's 6 stitches, so we're going to put 2 bands in each stitch. This is an increase. So here's 1. And this is where we're going to put our stitch marker. Now we need to go back into the same stitch and put number 2. Move over to the next stitch. We're going to put 2 in that. 1, 2. Next stitch. 1, 2. Next step. 1, 2. Next stitch. 1, 2. And our last stitch here. 1, 2. And I know I'm at the end because the next place that I can put my hook is right where my stitch marker is. So that's going to be where we're going to put our first stitch for row number 3. And in row number 3, we're going to have 16 stitches. So we're going to do a single stitch in one, a single stitch in the second, and then in the third stitch, we're going to do an increase. So here is our first single, and I'm going to put my marker back in. We're going to do another single in the second stitch. But in the third stitch, we're going to put 3. Oh, I'm sorry, we're going to put 2. 1, 2. Now we're going to repeat that pattern again. Single, single, and then double in the next. So 1 crochet, 1 crochet, oops, in the next, and then 2, 1, 2. So we're going to do another last set, 1 crochet, 1 crochet, and then 2 in this last stitch of the round. The next place we can put our hook is in that first stitch of that last round. Our round number 4, we are going to increase this to 20. So we're going to do 3 single crochets and then an increase in the 4th stitch. So here's our first 1, put the stitch marker back on, 2, 2, 3, 1, oops, 1, 2, 3, and then in the 4th one we are going to put 2 stitches, 1 and 2. As we're increasing like this, it's going to start to give us our round shape for the bottom, for the pencil bottom, the eraser bottom. So we're going to start again. 1, 2, 3, and then the next stitch has 2 in it. 1, 2. Starting again. 1, 2, 3, and then in the next stitch we put 2. One more time. 1, oops, back, oops. If they come off like this, since they are little slip knots, we can easily go back in and just tie them. Slip back through and tie it. It's 1, 2, 3, and then in the last stitch we're going to put 2. 1, 2. Here we are back at the beginning. Our next row, number 5, we are going to do 1 crochet all the way around, which keeps us at 20. So here's your first stitch with your marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, some more pages, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Last stitch, we're back at the beginning. Now we're going to start row number 6. Row 6 and 7 are both rows with one single stitch in each. So there would be 2 rows, each with 20. So let's start. 1, here's our first stitch, and this is where I'm going to put our marker. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and the last stitch in this row, 20. We're going back to the beginning. Now we are on row number 7, and we're going to do 20 singles all around. Here's my first stitch. Put the marker back on, and I'm just going to do a single stitch in every stitch around. Oops, the whole thing fell out. Just slip knot it all back together. Usually the opaque bands don't slip out too easily. The jelly ones really are slippery. So just keep going all the way around. I'm telling you how many stitches that we're doing at the beginning of each row. So if you don't want to count, you can always count out your bands before time. Make a little pile of 20 and then keep going around until you run out of bands and you know that you've gotten exactly what you need. Sometimes I do that because I lose track counting. And the last one here. We're back to the beginning. Our next rows are going to be the color. We're going to switch to this color here that you want to do is the separation between the eraser and the paint part of the pencil. So I'm going to use Rainbow Loom Gray. So we're going to do 2 rows, and each row is going to have 20 stitches. Now that we're doing 20, we're going to start going straight up. We're done increasing. So here's our first stitch, making the change, putting the stitch marker on the first one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, dog hair, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And that's the end of the row. We're back at the beginning. This puts us on row number 9. Row number 9 is also going to have 20 stitches. Here's our first. 1, 2, oops, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and our last stitch here is 20. Now we're back at the beginning. We're going to switch to our paint color. The paint of the color of the pencil. I'm going to use this neon blue from Michaels. It's Rainbow Loom brand. Just came from Michaels store. And we're going to go ahead and do rounds of 20. We're going to be pretty much doing a bunch of rounds of 20 till we get to the top so we can make our pencil longer. So let's start. 1 in the first stitch here, row. We're going to add our marker so we know. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and our last stitch in this round, 20. Back to the beginning. At this point, I'm going to pause the video because you need to make 9 more rows of your color. So just keep track, make 9 more rows, and when we're done, we'll come back, okay? See you in a bit. Welcome back, everyone. You should have now finished 9 more rows of your main pencil color, so we have a total of 10 rows. I have slipped my hook back into the first stitch on the last round. Now at this point in our project, we're going to do the face and the eyes and the mouth. So since I'm going to be putting my fingers inside and messing around, I don't want the hook kind of flopping around, and I don't want this stitch here to come undone and unravel. So I'm going to take my stitch marker and I'm just going to hook this single band and these 2 bands here into my stitch marker. So it sort of keeps them secure. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our face on. So we're going to take your safety eyes and attach them in. The first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and slip them in where I like them, and I'll put the backs on in a bit. This one has some eyes that are wider apart, but I kind of like them a little bit closer. Let's see. I usually like to do about 3. Maybe 1, 2, 3. That's cute. Actually, I think it was cuter when it was closer together. So I'm going to go ahead and do it like that. And then you need to put the backs on the safety eyes. So you just carefully turn it inside out while holding the eyes in their places so they don't fall out. And the safety eyes have these little plastic backs. So you can just slide it on and press them in. And they make these little clicking sounds as they go down. So sometimes I have trouble. My fingers. These backs are so tiny. 1. There's my second click. So I'm going to add my second back here. Now if you don't have safety eyes, you can use beads. Thread a bead through. Still trying to get it pushed down. Ooh. Or you can use bands. If you'd like to use bands, I'll just show you really quick. You're going to take 2 bands of any color, black, blue, whatever, put them on your hook, wrap them around, and then grab them all and wrap them around one more time. And then you'll take a band and you'll slide it all through onto. And then when you have it like this, you can go up through where you want it, pull it down, slide it through another space, and grab the other end of that band and pull it through so that it's secure around one stitch. Do a slip knot or tie a knot. And that's an easy way to make an eye if you don't have any eyes. So there are my eyes, and now I want to add my little mouth. And what I'm going to do is take a band, I'm using black, and I'm going to give it a little snip with the scissors. And then I'm going to just put it through 2 stitches like this, tie a knot in the back so it makes this cute little smile. So what I like to do is stretch out my project a tiny bit so I can stick the band through, and it's up to you where you want to put it. Just kind of look at the face and decide where it would be cute to stick the little smiley face. So I'm going to put one side here, And like I said, you kind of have to might need to stretch it to get the spaces to open up a bit. Oh, that's cute. I like that placement. So then what I'm going to do is turn them inside out again. And I'm going to take the two ends of the bands and I'm just going to make a knot in it, really close to the end. So go ahead and make the knot as far to the end as you can. And there's our little face, and then you can pull it out. His little smile. Now when we stuff it, I'm gonna put my stuffing pressed up this way and make sure that the little mouth stays flat this way and it doesn't flip up. Okay, our next step is to add the wood color here at the top, and I'm going to be using one of the skin tones from the Rainbow Loom skin tone pack. So to get us started, I'm going to put my hook back through the 3 loops that my stitch marker was holding in place for me. And that's where our first stitch is going to be. We are on round 20. And for round 20, we are going to do a single stitch in each for 20. We're getting pretty close to being done. So here's our first stitch. Marker back on. 2. 3. 4. Oops. 4 flew out. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. 13. 14. 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. And 20. Now we're moving on to our next row. This is row number 21. Stitch back, hook back in that first stitch. Now we need to start making up to the point at the top. So now we need to start decreasing. For this row, we're going to do 2 single crochets and then a decrease. So let's start. This is 1. Moving the stitch marker. Let's do 2. Now we need to decrease. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 stitches up on our hook and for the next. So here's the first one. Hold it in place and grab another one. And we're going to pull a band through both of those sets of stitches. 1 and 2. And then continue the same way. 1, 2, and then in the third stitch is going to be the 2 for the decrease. 1, 2. Pulling it through both. We're going to do it again, repeating that same pattern. 2 single stitches, so that's 1, another single stitch, and then a decrease. We're grabbing one, we're grabbing the second, putting them both through a band. When you go to move on to the next stitch, make sure you don't put your hook in through here. You can see right here that this is where our last stitch is. It's not here, it's the next one. So we're going to do the same pattern. One stitch, put a second through, and then for our next stitch, we're going to grab the two. 1, 2. And we're going to pull a band through both of those. One more time. One stitch, another one, and then the last two stitches here are going to be our decrease. 1, 2. And then the next place we're able to put our hook is back in that first stitch. Now we're on round 22. This round is going to have 10 stitches. We're going to start with a single band. This is 1. Stitch marker back on. Our next stitch is going to be a decrease. So we're going to do a single decrease, single decrease. Here's our single. Grab 2 for the decrease. One. So that's our first set. We're going to do a single and then a decrease. Grab 1 and grab the next one right next to it. We're making this smaller. We're going to do our single in the next stitch, and then we're going to do a decrease. We're going to grab 1 and 2. Single stitch, and then we're going to do a decrease. 1, 2. Another single, and then the last 2 stitches in the row are going to be our last decrease. 1, 2. Alright, our hole is getting smaller, so it's time to stuff. I'm going to do the same thing I did before when I did the eyes. I'm going to take my stitch marker off. I'm going to put it through all 3 of the bands on my hook so I can remove my hook. We're going to take some stuffing, anything you have, cotton balls. This is fiber fill that I got from the craft store. So we're just going to take bits of it, stuff it inside until you get it as full as you'd like. Let's see. Now when I'm stuffing, my guy, his smile is looking like a frown. So I'm just going to grab the end of his smile. Oop, popped an eye out. Sometimes happens. Push his eye through. I'm just going to pull it so it's pointing up. So it always makes a smile rather than a frown. I'm thinking maybe a little bit more stuffing since I've got a hole at the top. So put a little bit more in. You can put as much or as little as you feel you need. And there's my guy. His eye moved to a not good place. Let's move his eye. That's better. Okay, so I'm going to put my hook back in so we can finish. We're almost there. Through the last stitch and then the first stitch of the last round. And we're going to switch to the color of the lead in the pencil. And for this I'm going to use dark blue. Try to make this like a colored pencil. So what we're going to do is a decrease all around. we're going to make this point. So I already have the last stitch on of the last round, and then first stitch of the last round, previous round before, on your hook. We're going to grab a whole nother stitch. So you've got 2 doubles here, 2 doubles here, and a single. There should be 5 loops on. And we're going to pull a band through. That's the color of your lead. And we're going to put our stitch marker on that. We're going to keep going around decreasing until we get a point. So we're going to grab 2 more and decrease. I'm going to grab 2 more. Here. Here it's getting a little tight. The stitch marker is getting in the way. Just kind of go slow and take your time. We're going to make 2, we're going to grab 2 more. Pulling them through. I'm going to grab the last 2 of the wood color. Oops. I'm going to decrease that. And now we're back to the beginning. I'm going to do 2 more stitches, 1 more stitch. Let's see. Here we are. Let's grab another one for a decrease because I want a little tiny point at the end. So we've got this on our hook. We're going to grab 1 more. I think 1 is going to do it. I'm going to pull it through those 2 and back on. And here we are. And that's going to give us our little point. And now I want to end it to secure it. So I'm going to go back. I'm just going to grab 2 bands over here on the side. 2 or 3 bands like that. Just to secure it. And I'm going to pull a band through all of them, making a slip stitch. Pull it tight. And then since I have this little extra tail, I'm just going to go ahead and pull it from the inside. And pull it through. The point is very tiny. It's a little forgiving, so if it's not perfect, I think it looks perfect. I love it just like that. So there, we have another Amigurumi, Loomigurumi little guy. I'm real happy with the way the pencil came out. It's really cute. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and also hit like down below. Thanks for watching. Keep looming.